So if you're watching the news or if you're just searching YouTube like I do, you can see that there is a ton of hysteria around the Florida housing market. And I just did a quick search here. I'll show you. But when you search Florida housing market within YouTube, the first 20 things that are presented to you is how the market's going to collapse, how this is a problem, there's a crash coming, there's all these issues, interest rates are terrible, inventory is rising, prices are dropping like crazy. And in today's video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look at some of those things and let you know what I think about it. I'm going to show you our market here and let you know what is actually going on here in our market. And then I'm also going to give you my personal opinion on where our market's going and what could happen, what could potentially not happen here in the future for Northeastern Florida. What's up, everyone? My name's Thomas with Real Broker here in St. Augustine, Florida. And if you're looking to buy, sell, or invest here in Northeastern Florida, make sure you reach out to me and my team. All we try to do is give you the information so that you can make an educated decision on what you already want to do, which is buy, sell, or invest in real estate here in Northeastern Florida. So many of you know, and if you've been watching this show for a long time, that I'm kind of a data junkie. I listen to every podcast under the sun. I look at all the YouTube videos regarding the housing market nationally and locally and within the state of Florida here. And I try to stay as unbiased as possible. Now, of course, I'm a realtor. I'm tied to the transaction. Maybe I am a little biased and I want the market to keep pumping. You know, that is always in the back of someone's head. Like, well, of course, you're a realtor. You always say prices are going to go up. Ever since I've been saying it, I've been right. But is that going to continue in the future? And in today's video, we're going to take a look at some of the doomers, what I like to call them, the people who say that the market is going to crash, the crash bros, as we like to call them. And then we're going to take a look at the market data here specifically in St. Johns County and just really show you a in-depth look of what's going on with our market so that you can make a decision. I'm not telling you, I'm just presenting you with the facts here. And then I'm going to give you my opinion on what's going on here. So I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to show you what I found on YouTube, right? And there's plenty of people who make it a business to talk about the doom and gloom on YouTube. And if you want some proof, go to my page, look at my videos, and some of my most popular videos are about the negative things living here in St. Johns County, right? So I know that because I put out a ton of content for you guys, and that's what these guys make money off of views, off of subscribers, off of selling fear, right? And that, I'm not saying they're wrong, I'm not saying they're right, but that is their whole business model. And if you look at these guys' pages, I guarantee 95% of their videos are going to be negative videos about whatever it is, the housing market, inventory, prices. They're all negative because that's unfortunately what we're drawn to. I was just talking to a client today, and it's like when you're on 95 and you pass a car crash and it's on fire. For whatever reason, we all rubberneck and we're like, what's going on? What's going on there? Is everyone okay? We want to see what's going on. We're drawn to that type of stuff, which is why these videos perform the best on YouTube. And you'll see that they have hundreds of thousands of views compared to my measly thousands of views because, unfortunately, I just like to give it to you straight. A lot of people don't like to show all the facts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hop on this prominent YouTuber, been doing it for a while. His name is Michael Bordenaro, and he definitely makes a lot of good points. I'm not saying he doesn't, but if you just look at his videos, every single video is a problem, right? Crime wave forcing Target to close stores, housing market in emergency mode as sales plummet. No one's getting a raise anymore, not enough to keep up. 40-year mortgages are coming and the banks are desperate. Proof that they've been lying the whole time. Everything here on this page, I'm looking at his last 6 videos here, is all negative stuff. Now this is just one person, right? But let me just pick someone I don't know of, right? Let me just pick one other person that I don't know of. So the first thing that pops up was Chris Ego. Okay, so the first one, thumbnail says collapse. Home prices nosediving. Florida HOA evictions. It's over. HOAs are ripping homes away from these people. Florida condo nightmares. Panic selling. Massive regrets. These are all the thumbnails that this guy has, right? So I was wrong. He's just as negative on every single video, right? And is this the truth, right? There's definitely truth in what these guys are saying. And I've watched a good bit of these videos to know what they're saying. Most of them, especially when they're talking about inventory, is talking about the significant increase in inventory that we've seen over these past couple of years. And that's totally true, right? But when we were at historic lows in 2020 and 2021, when interest rates were 3%, everyone wanted to buy a home, Well, it's expected that when interest rates hit 7%, that should slow the market down and we should see more inventory in our market, right? Or am I crazy on that? Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. So that's one of the major things that they leave out of these statistics that they present is they're like, hey, look at this huge increase in inventory. And it's like, well, if you really compare inventory from now to 2018, 2019, more of a normal market, then you would see that it's kind of regular, right? And I'm going to specifically talk, because I'm an expert here in the northeastern Florida area, I'm going to specifically talk about our area here, just so you guys know what's actually going on. And there are going to be places in Florida that they do have rising inventory and prices are dropping. And there is a case study for each of these, but everything is market specific. And you guys got to keep that in mind. So more than likely, they're going to show you a graph just like this. Look at this active inventory. When you look at this, it does make you take a pause and say, what's going on? There are a ton of homes on the market. And you're even saying, Tom, you told me that 2019, 2018, we had the same amount of homes on the market. But when you look at this, you can see that we're up 5% from last month, and we're up 87% since this time last year. So what's going on here? Is this a big problem? And when you look at this, it's a scary chart, right? And there's no doubt about that. But the one thing I would like to say is that we have a ton of new construction here in our area. A lot of these are going to be builders. Over 25% of this is going to be builders, right? So that is a good chunk of those homes. And the new construction exploded after 2020. I mean, yeah, we had new construction here, no doubt about that, but it seems that it's really ramped up in the past couple of years. Also, another thing to note about this is that, yeah, this active inventory may look a little scary, but we have a lot more people that are living here in northeastern Florida than we did before. This may seem scary when you compare it to 2018, 2019, but our population living here has changed pretty drastically. Now, let me talk you off a ledge, right? Just how this is climbing to a mountain, let me talk you off that mountain a little bit, and I want to show you some of the other stats that you should be paying attention to, right? So the main one is like, okay, well, if inventory is going up, well, then prices have got to be going down. So let's take a look at, okay, so if you look at the sales price, this is the median value for a price of a home in our area. Now, if you look at it month over month, we're up 2% from June to July. Then if you look at it year over year, we're only up 1.4%. So you can see over the past 2 years, our market has kind of just gone up and down because of the interest rate changes and because demand has it has slowed down, right? And that was the whole point. The Fed raised federal funds rate extremely quick, and then the interest rate, the market for car loans, credit cards, mortgage rates, all followed along with that, right? Lending became more expensive. We also had inflation as well. So they're trying to fight that. And then next month, September, we may see that federal funds rate start to go down, which is why we've seen a softening in interest rates here recently. They're pricing that in the market. But when you just look at sales price here, you can see that, yeah, we had a ramp up and it went up pretty quickly, but we've been kind of teetering along that 535,000 price range for our median sale price across St. Johns County. So even though we have more inventory coming to the market, our properties are still appreciating in a 7% interest rate environment. Now, to me, that shows that the market has strength, because over the past 2 years, interest rates went from like 3 to 7, doubled, and your payment went crazy, and people are still buying houses in this area at the median sale price. That's still appreciating. If interest rates do go down, which people are expecting them to go down to the mid 5s, my personal opinion is that it is going to start going up again at a faster rate. The market will start to pick up, inventory will start to tick down, but we don't know what's going to happen. The Fed signals, like I was telling someone earlier, they talk in gypsy curses, right? Of what they're going to do for the future. They say they're going to do something. They kind of beat around the bush just to give the markets an idea of how to start with pricing. So let's take a look at another analytic here, just so you can see what's going on here. Let's take a look at days on market. Now, days on market, right? Days on market shot up. And of course it's gone down too, right? So it's in March, it was at 32 days. And right now we're at 56 days, which is up from 47 days last month. And it's up from the same time last year of 37 days. So this is definitely, you look at this chart alone, you're like, oh my God, the days on market is skyrocketing. But you just take a look, you blow up. You don't look from 2020 on. Yeah. Days on market's gone a lot different since 14 days on the market. 2 weeks to sell a home, that's $500,000 is insanity. Our market was insane at that point. But if you take a look over here, 2019, what does this say? 56 days, 54 days, 66 days. What was this? Over in 2019, beginning of January, 76 days. So my point with this, our market, when you're comparing it to, and all we have to do is, all we have to rely on is to compare it to the past, the history of what we've seen here in our market. And we know from 2020 on, there is a direct change, right? Because Florida changed in general. This whole area grew exponentially because of COVID and the changes of policy after that for the states and how people wanted to live. And it caused a mass relocation, right? There's no doubt about that. But we're still at the same days on market as we were prior to 2020, right? So when you see these doomers talking about, oh, days on market is skyrocketing. Well, yes, but it's back in the normal range, right? Where we should be. I don't see that as being a huge problem. Okay, let's take a look at another analytic. And guys, if you have any questions about this, throw them in the comments below. I try to be an advisor, right? If you don't want to buy a property in this market because you think it's going to crash and it's terrible and the prices are going to go down, good. You don't have to reach out to me. We don't have to talk. But if you are interested, you want to buy a home, you want to get your first steps in, I'm giving you the data that I'm looking at here, guys. I research this a lot, and I'd be mortified if I told someone something just so I can make a sale and make commission. Obviously, my job is based around that, but I'm only helping people that want to be helped, right? That's it. I'm not some greasy salesperson, as a lot of my commenters will, at least the local people will tell me I'm a greasy salesperson. I just want to sell all the homes in St. Johns County and develop all the land. That's not true, but I do want homes to be affordable for people. I do want development in the right way. Let's take a look at this next statistic here that I want to show you. So we'll go from days on market, and then we already talked about active inventory, but this is really the most important metric that I think we can look at, because active inventory was scary, right? We saw that cliff of things going up. The months of supply. So what this means is, and I'll read it for you right here so you can see it. Months of supply of inventory is the number of months it would take to sell through the available inventory at the current sales rate. So if today we decided no more homes are allowed on the MLS, it would take, which is the multiple listing service, Realtor Zillow, it would take 4.6 months for us to sell out of all of our inventory. And this is here in St. Johns County, right? So everything that's on the market, the almost, I think it was 2,900 homes that are on the market right now that are active, it would take 4.6 months for all of those to go away if we didn't put any homes on the market right now. So let's compare it, right? So we're at 4.6 months of inventory. What were we prior to COVID, right? So 2020, in the beginning of 2020, we were at 4.2. In 2019, January, we were at 5.5. 2018, we were at 6 months of inventory. To me, once again, this is another signal that, yes, things are changing in the market. And I'm not denying that prices have kind of stagnated, right? They're still appreciating, just not as much as they were during COVID. Days on market has gone up, right? Went from 57 days, right? That's a good spread. But when you have such extremes, there should be a swing back in the pendulum, correct? And then when you look at months of supply, yeah, we were down months of supply. During COVID, we hit 1 month. There was a point where we hit 0.7 months. So 3 weeks it took, and we would have sold all the homes in our market. That's insanity, right? That's not a healthy market. And that's what we saw. That's why prices were appreciating. That's why appraisals weren't coming in. That's why we were having so many issues during that time, because the market was insane. A 3% interest rate when inflation is 5% is money in the bank all day long. So now that we covered what the doomers are looking at, we covered the stats here in St. Johns County, and all those stats were just for St. Johns County. I want to cover my personal feeling on the market and what is happening. So there's one thing that I think is really important to know, especially if you're a buyer in this market and if you're a seller as well, is the seasonality of our market. Now, typically summer is the busiest time of the year. That's when you're going to see the highest sales point of the year. So June and July is typically when we're going to see prices peak. Then you're going to see them slide down through August, September, October, and then we're going to see a little rally in November. We call it the Santa rally. November, December, we're going to see the prices start to pick up again. And then after Santa rally, it's going to go down until spring. And then spring through summer, prices start to climb again. So if you are looking to buy a home or sell a home, this is important data to know, because you need to know how to price your home against the market and the averages of our market, the ebbs and flows of our market. So buying a home right now actually is probably the best deal that you're going to get during the entire annual year. The second thing you want to do, especially if you're looking at new construction, is you want to take a look at these builders and the end of their fiscal year, because typically these builders give the best deals at the end of the fiscal year, at the end of their quarters, and at the end of the month. So just a little anecdotal story here. Talking to a builder in Nocatee, one of my site reps informed me like, hey, we had a really slow August. So if you have a buyer that's within this range, tell them to put an offer forward, right? And I mean, me and my buyer talked about it for a good hour. We're thinking we're gonna go a different direction, but that's something that typically wouldn't happen before. That's something that site reps wouldn't have even given you that information before, but why are they doing that now? Well, we're going into that seasonal period where it's starting to slow down. Their August wasn't as strong as they want it to be. The sales reps also get paid whenever the home closes. So as we go into the slower part of the year, we're going to start to see price drops. We're also going to start to see better incentives for buyers on resales and new construction. Now, as I stated previously, the Fed has talked about lowering the federal funds rate in September. There was an opinion article where it's saying that there's almost 100% chance that they do make this lower of the federal funds rate. If that happens, I don't know. Like I said, they talk in gypsy curses. They talk around and beat around the bush as much as they can. They try to give the market an idea, but they don't want to say, hey, we're doing this. So we will see what happens in September. The market has already reacted. We've started to see interest rates start to come down a little bit, which is great, and it's great for buyers. I believe once the conventional interest rate is under 6%, we're going to see our market start appreciating. But will that happen sooner than later? That's the hardest thing, and it depends on the federal funds rate, right? So they've already started to price in the federal funds rate being dropped because people are certain that the Fed, Jerome Powell, is going to drop the federal funds rate. But we've seen interest rates start to go down. So a lot of people are expecting, okay, they're going to drop the federal funds rate and interest rates are going to fall off a cliff. If that happens, great. Do I expect it to happen? I don't, because the market already priced it in. So where interest rates are right now, I imagine they will stay in the same zone once we get through September if he does say, hey, the Fed's lowering rates. Now, the other possibility is the Fed says, hey, we're going to keep federal funds rate right where it's at. We haven't seen the inflation reduction, that we haven't hurt the economy enough. We haven't hurt inflation enough. So we're going to keep the federal funds rate where we're at. If that does happen, I believe interest rates will then go up a little bit. They won't stay stagnant. So that could actually be a negative for our market, could be a negative for buyers, right? But in that same token, the builders are going to feel the pain. The sellers that are on the market are going to feel the pain. They're going to have to make some concessions to get buyers in the door, right? So that is actually a great thing. So to wrap it all up, the next couple months is going to slow down a good bit, but that is 100% normal. It should do that, right? And that doesn't give me any fear. Looking at this data here, the months of inventory, the active inventory, the sales, doesn't give me any fear of the market. And I promise, if I do see something on there, I will I'll make a video about it, right? And then I'll be a doomer, just like the rest of these guys. But until that point, I just want to give you guys straight information. So overall, I feel that our market is going to appreciate, not as much. It's probably going to appreciate in single digits, probably 1 to 3% year over year. For 2025, probably it'll be about the same unless we see a drastic dip in interest rates, which no one can predict. I think we're going to see our market stabilize, and we're going to see about the same amount of inventory. And we're also going to see better concessions for the rest of this year from builders. So if you're looking for a deal in Northeastern Florida, that's probably going to be your best bet. So guys, if you are looking to buy, sell, or invest here in Northeastern Florida, just make sure you reach out to me and my team. Like I said before, all we try to do is give you the information so that you can make an educated decision on what you already want to do, which is buy, sell, or invest in real estate. I appreciate you guys being here. I'll see you next time.